Meeting to order. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, amended on March 28, 2025, Governor Maura Healey signed into law an act extending pandemic-related authorizations related to public meetings, allowing remote meeting options for public bodies through June 30th, 2027. Tonight, the April 7th, 2025 Select Board meeting will be conducted via remote participation by the board. The chair will grant permission to Westwood Media Center, I think we've got Jack with us, to record the meeting and to anyone else who wishes to do so. We will have a 3-minute time limit on statements/questions. You must give your name and address when posting questions. And I'll lead right into the chair's update unless there's something else that I'm missing. Doesn't look like it. Everyone's on their phones. Okay. The town's annual election will be held on Tuesday, April 29th, 2025. All precincts will vote at the Westwood High School Gymnasium, and the polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And Dottie has asked that we enter at door number 28. I guess where the recreation preschool area is. The second thing I have is annual town meeting will be on May 19th, 2025. It'll be held Monday, May 19th, 2025 at the Westwood High School. Check-in is at 5:30. Meeting starts at 6:30. Do I have that right, Dottie? Okay, good.
Yes.
I just have a short update, and Chris has more on Norwood Hospital. I did get to speak to someone up in Norwood. There was a delay in getting things rolling as they had to hammer out some logistics between Representative Lynch's office and Governor Healey's office. My understanding that has been resolved. There are some work groups, I believe there's 3 of them, and there are some meetings as well, and they will be, Chris has some further information on it. I'll just finish with, the website is finishthejobnorwood.com. You have to put in finishthejobnorwood.com to see additional resources as well as sample letters for residents. And Chris, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, just to piggyback on what the chair has been saying about Norwood Hospital. So we have been in constant communication with Norwood regarding Norwood Hospital, and one of the things that we are trying to do is to schedule a time for one of your meetings in May to have representation from Norwood come and speak to the board regarding the updates, what's happening with Norwood Hospital. Some of the things that they are looking to do is looking to work with different communities, or all the communities actually, for letters of support. So I'm working on a draft letter, and I'll share that with the board for consideration. And then like I said, we're looking to have an update. So we'll have a presentation. The board can have a presentation at one of your meetings in May, and we'll have an update from Norwood, and the board will be able to answer or ask questions to them regarding the status, and they'll provide an update. But as Joe said, they did hit a little bit of a speed bump. And now they seem to be moving forward a little faster than they were in the past. So I'll certainly appreciate the work that is being done, led by Norwood. And we have representation from the Fire Chiefs Association, Police Chiefs Association, also the managers groups. So we have different representation on that. So not every single fire chief in all communities impacted by this is on it, police chief or town manager. But we are in constant communication with the organizers of the task force. As far as some other updates, good news, the governor's office, Department of Fire Services, has issued a second round of firefighter safety equipment grant, and Westwood has been, the ranges between $735 and $23,860. Westwood is being awarded with an additional $9,427. So we certainly want to thank Chief Lund and Assistant Chief McCarthy for the work that they've done to submit that original grant application. So combined, it's going to be enough for, I think it's 2 turnout gears for 2 firefighters, which is going to be great. There's going to be an annual shredding day. The COA is going to be holding their 8th annual shredding day. It'll be on May 1st from 10 to 1. It's sponsored by the district attorney's office. For more information, you can certainly contact our COA or go to our website. You can get more information on that. And as far as that, and the chair has provided a great update regarding Norwood Hospital. That's all I have for you, Mr. Chair.
Excellent, thank you. And without further ado, Let's move on to approval of bond anticipation notes, bans. I see Kathy's here, and Stephanie, I assume you're going to lead the charge on this?
Yes, thank you.
Please do.
So the town recently completed a successful short-term note issue that delivered favorable results. Tonight, I'm here to go over those results and then ask the board to approve the sale. So as the chair just said, our assistant treasurer is here tonight as well, Kathy Foley, who works hard with our financial advisors and bond counsel to make sure the process always goes smoothly. So I want to give her a special thank you. So on April 1st, the town sold a short-term 6-month note, $7,796,923. So I'll just shorten that to 7.8, about $7.8 million note, also called a ban or bond anticipation note. We held an open competitive sale and received 6 bids, which is great. That's a great response. The winning bid was Truist Securities, and the net interest rate received was 2.907. This is also a great low interest rate for short-term debt in this environment in particular. So all good news. Funding was issued through this 6-month note for 5 projects approved at prior town meetings in May of 2022 and May in 2023. These projects have not been issued long-term. So for the general fund, the debt issued is for 3 design projects and 1 construction project for a total of $2.725 million. There is then also a piece for the Hanlon Elementary School construction project in the amount of $5.07 million. So that's the total of the 7.8. The ban will be issued for a 6-month term until November 21st of this year. At that point, we'll evaluate and determine whether the ban will be rolled over or rolled into a long-term bond. So either rolled over again into a short-term note like this one is, or rolled into long-term financing. So this outcome underscores our proactive financial management. I always want to highlight that, and our focus on delivering value to the community. So the board was sent information on this. I'm happy to go through any questions at all. The next steps would just be to have a majority of the board and the clerk come in and sign paperwork that Kathy and I have available at Town Hall for you in the next couple of days. And then we'll also just note that there's a long vote in your packet. It's very detailed long vote, but you just have to read the sentence or 2 that was provided in order to vote on the approval of the sale. So I'm happy to take any questions.
As always, a thorough presentation, Stephanie. I don't have any questions.
Thank you, Joe.
I do not have any questions either, but I do want to thank you, Stephanie and Kathy. Thank you for all your hard work. This is a great result with a very competitive rate. So well done. Thank you.
I would just echo that. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Stephanie. And ready for a motion, I suppose, if we're there.
Please.
I am ready, and I move that the select board approve the 1-year $7,796,923 ban as recommended by the town treasurer, and further move that the select board adopt the vote prepared by bond counsel in connection with the sale of the town's April bond anticipation notes, and to have the select board members sign the closing documents.
And I apologize if I could just note that it's instead of 1 year, just to make a slight edit. That's my fault. It was a typo. It's a 6-month, but everything
Yes.
else was fine.
My
Pat, if I
apologies.
can just make that change.
My apologies. Yes, 6-month.
And I will second that amended motion.
Thank you, Rob. Roll call. Mary Ann?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. Motion carries.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kath.
Next, we have beer and wine special license, Everwild mountain bike event at Hale on May 3rd. And I believe, I think Nora is here. Nora, you are here.
Yes,
Great
I
to see
am.
you.
Mr.
Great.
Chair,
Yes.
I'm not sure if you're aware, it looks like you may have lost your camera.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, thank you.
Sure thing.
So I'm here to speak on this, and I believe Lindsay Pierce from Hale may also be in attendance if she is, and
She is.
if you want to
Yep,
bring
I'm
her
here.
over. Okay, great. So this is for Everwild. It's a mountain biking event, women's mountain biking event at Hale Reservation. It's scheduled for Sunday, May 3rd. They're looking for a license to run from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. with the alcohol service beginning at 11:30 a.m. They expect about 150 attendees, and there'll be a series of skills clinics offered throughout the day. They have vendors from Black Hat Breweries with 2 tips certified servers. They also have a food vendor that has begun the process of obtaining a food permit from the health department. They just applied for that on April 6th, so they should have that in a matter of days. This was reviewed by the police department, who determined that no police detail was necessary. It was also reviewed by the Alcohol Review Commission, who unanimously recommended in favor of the select board granting this one-day license.
Great. Thank you, Nora. Mary Ann or Rob, do you folks have any questions on this?
I do not.
No questions for me.
And Rob?
None for me either, Joe.
Yeah, I don't see anything in the queue, Rob. I'm just
Nope.
eagle
No.
eyes usually on
There.
top of that. So great. All right, I'll certainly entertain a motion.
Happy to make one. I move that the select board approve a one-day beer and wine special license to Jacqueline Ross on behalf of Hale Education, Inc. for the Everwild Women's MTB Day on May 3rd, 2025, to be located at Cat Rock Field, Hale Reservation, from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Time includes setup and cleanup. This approval is pending final sign-offs by public safety departments and the issuance of a food permit. And also move for the electronic signatures of the select board to be affixed to the one-day special beer and wine license for the May 3rd, 2025 Everwild event.
I second that motion.
Thank you, Rob. Roll call. Mary Ann?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well.
And Lindsay, we hope you have great weather that day. There's a lot going on in town that day.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, guys.
Fingers crossed. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Next,
you.
we have
Have a
a
good one.
one-day beer and wine special license for a wedding at Hale on May 24th. Nora, looks like you're going to lead the charge on this one. Would you be so
Yes,
kind?
I am, and Erica Purnell may be here. So this is a wedding, the Purnell wedding, scheduled for Saturday, May 24th. It's also at Hale. In this case, it's at the Andy Cucchiara Learning Center. They're expecting 50 guests. It'll be the ceremony as well as the reception. They have catering by Boston Events Divas Froth and Foam to Mobile Bar. And they also have tips certified trainers. We're planning to have 2 food trucks. Both have received their food permits from the health department just today. One is the Cod Squad and the other is a pizza truck. And this also was reviewed by the police department, who determined no details necessary, and reviewed by the Alcohol Review Committee, who recommended unanimously that the select board approve the one-day license for this wedding. And the time of the wedding, I'm sorry, Erica, I don't have it on here.
Yes,
I know.
it's 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Great, thank you. So I think we were looking for the service to begin at 10 and end at 3.
Excellent. Mary Ann and Rob, do you folks have any questions?
Sounds like a lovely wedding. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yes, congratulations on that. And we hope for you spectacular weather on that day as well.
Indeed.
Excellent. Mary Ann, would you be so kind?
I would. I move that the select board grant the one-day beer and wine special license to Erica Purnell for a wedding ceremony and reception on May 24th, 2025 at the Andy Cucchiara Learning Center on Hale Reservation from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Time includes setup and cleanup. This approval is pending final sign-offs by public safety departments, the issuance of food permits, and a tent permit. Also move for the electronic signatures of the select board to be affixed to the one-day special beer and wine special license for the May 24, 2025 Purnell wedding reception.
And I will second that motion.
Any discussion on the motion? Roll call. Mary Ann?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well, and fingers crossed, Erica. Wishing you the best.
Thank you all so
Congratulations.
much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nora. Next, we have the Dedham Westwood Water District non-essential outdoor water use restrictions. I think they have a slide presentation for us. We've got Blake Lucas and Jennifer Perkins from Dedham Westwood Water District. Let's get them lined up here. Evening, Blake.
Good evening. As far as the presentation, do you want me to share my screen or?
Please.
Okay, let me just get that going. All right, can you all see my presentation?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, good evening. I just want to thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, for having us here this evening to allow me to present to you on some changes that are upcoming with the district's drought management and implementation of outdoor water use restrictions. It is important to note or to start by sharing that the majority of the district's wells are regulated through the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection's Water Management Act, through what they refer to as registration statements. The district has two registration statements, one for the 11 wells located in Dedham at the Bridge Street water treatment plant, and the second is for 4 of the 5 wells that are located in Westwood over on University Ave. In 2023, Mass DEP amended its Water Management Act regulations by requiring all public water suppliers with registration statements to comply with prescribed water restriction levels by April of 2025, which is why we're here in front of you today. These prescribed levels must be implemented to enforce drought conditions as declared by the EEA's, that's the Executive Office of Environmental and Energy Affairs, Drought Management Task Force. In short, the state has taken drought management out of the control of local water utilities and forced them in compliance with state mandated droughts. We thought this would be important to bring to your attention, as you will see an increase in outdoor water restrictions, and it may not be directly connected to the status of our local supplies or the health of our local supplies. Here are the 4 levels of drought and non-essential outdoor water use that we're going to be implementing moving forward. So level 0 would depict normal conditions. And this is where we would just have voluntary water use restrictions have we had in the past. We would limit watering between May and September to 1 day a week. Again, this would just be voluntary, and it would just be to continue to promote conservation even during normal conditions. Levels 1 through 3 correspond directly to the state's drought levels, and the restrictions are as prescribed and required by Mass DEP regulations. So to run through them really quick, a level 1 drought, which is a mild drought, we would be required to implement non-essential outdoor water use to 1 day a week, and it would be outside the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. So that is before 9 a.m. in the morning or after 5 p.m. in the evening. Level 2 is a significant drought condition where we would have mandatory ban on all outdoor water use restrictions, except for plants and flowers that can be watered with handheld hoses, drip irrigation, or watering cans. And then level 3 or higher, there is a level 4 for drought, which is an emergency. No non-essential outdoor water use is allowed at all. So currently, the Southeast region, where Dedham and Westwood are both located, is in a significant drought. So that's a level 2 drought. We've been in that drought since last October. While a majority of the Commonwealth is at a level 3 critical drought. Unless the drought level changes at the next task force meeting, which happens to be tomorrow morning, on April 8th, we will be forced to comply with level 2, significant drought conditions. And if you recall from the previous slide, that would mean that there would be no non-essential outdoor water use, except for plants and flowers using handheld techniques. The Drought Task Force does meet monthly. So even during times of significant rain or times where you may have extremely dry conditions, they typically won't be changing the drought status until the next meeting, which again would be a month later. Now, as far as enforcement, this is very similar to how we previously enforced water use restrictions. Our rules and regulations provide for the following violations and associated fines. And again, the district does not want to have to fine customers. We are just hoping that they will cooperate and comply with our rules and regulations, such as we have to comply with the state's rules and regulations. So you may have noticed that the water use restrictions are called non-essential outdoor water use restrictions. So let's go through some of the definition of what would be considered essential. So anything relating to the health or safety would be considered an essential use and would be allowed. This includes public facilities used for cooling. So on very extremely hot days where someone might open up cooling facilities. Even with water quality aspects of it for health. So flushing hydrants during droughts is still allowed to maintain water quality within a distribution system. Irrigation of public parks and private recreational fields is considered essential. This includes public schools, private schools, and other fields. But again, they would have to maintain the time periods of watering before 9 a.m. or after 5 p.m. Production of food and food gardens, and this would be commercial gardens and even residential gardens. If you were growing food, that's always allowed and considered an essential use. Establishing a new lawn. Now, I think this is one that is important to note. It's only a new lawn as it relates to new construction that may have happened or a replacement of a Title V system. So overseeding in the spring would not be considering establishing a new lawn as far as Mass DEP is concerned as an essential use. Irrigation for public shade trees is considered essential. Maintenance of livestock. And if there's another permit or license or statute or regulation that oversees a certain water use, that may also trump and consider it a essential use. Now, the last one is the one on the right-hand side. That's if the water use is for the business to run its normal operation, such as a car wash, or if you're having your house painted, it is necessary to pressure wash your house prior to having it painted. So those uses would also be considered essential. I will note that golf courses are on here as an essential use. However, they do have their own regulations cited here under 310 CMR 3607 that they are limited as well. They can't just water everything. But we also don't have the 2 golf courses that are within our district are not regularly using our sources for irrigation. So it doesn't really become applicable. So as I said before, the Drought Task Force does meet tomorrow. We're not sure if they're going to be making any changes. I know that we have had some rainfall, but we still are below the average for this time of year by about 5 inches in the Boston area. As they do meet monthly and we learn updates from them and we're able to change this drought status or non-essential outdoor water use status, we will be notifying both communities directly as we typically do. And we'll also be posting any updates to our website, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. With that, I would like to just thank you again and take an opportunity to answer any questions.
Blake, thank you very much. Let's start with Rob.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Blake, thank you for being here and helping explain some of this. I know this is going to be a significant change for the community. So I'd like to start with, I know you put out your first notices on this earlier this month. unfortunately, April 1st isn't exactly the best day for putting out such an announcement. I've had a lot of people ask me if it was a bad April Fool's joke. I've responded that no, it's not a joke. So I guess my first question for you is, what else are you planning to do to drive awareness to these impending changes? I know most people here in town still don't know of these changes. There's only 17 folks that are here in the attendees list. I don't know how many may be watching, but I would suggest a townwide postcard mailing of some sort, because I would hate to have the first notice that they get be, the
Rob.
implementation of one of those warnings or fines.
I can't hear Rob. Can you other folks?
I can hear him just fine, yeah.
Okay.
So I think those are great comments. We certainly learned our lesson about posting a notice about this on April Fool's Day. We definitely will not be doing that again. We are also going to be going about education and communication on this in a bunch of different ways. We have new signboards that we put out. I believe there's 8 or 9 locations in each community. Those new boards have just come in with the new levels, so we will be putting those out. And we also are adding a notice into all of the bills that will go out beginning in just a couple weeks. So everyone who receives a bill will be receiving a full 8.5 by 11 stating all of the information that we have here presented tonight, all the different drought levels and what drought status we're currently in.
Okay, thanks. Just a follow-up question. I know that you mentioned the fine schedule is essentially the same as it had been. I think you probably have less latitude in terms of enforcement maybe than before. So what form do the warnings take? Is it a phone call? Is it a mailing? So I guess my question is, what happens if, I'm assuming you're just not leaving a voicemail, right? So what happens if there's a subsequent violation in the interceding time before whatever the warning arrives and is acknowledged by the homeowner?
Yep, very good point. So we do, yes, try to make every opportunity to make contact with them personally. So it's either a phone call or having one of our field staff go out to their house and knocking on the door and having a conversation with them. If we do not happen to be able to speak with them, we do leave a door knocker on their door itself that has the information on it and has our phone number, and that way they can get in touch with us. But all warnings and or fines would be communicated the same way, and ultimately they would have a door knocker left with them, whether it's handed to them in person or left on the door.
Got it. That's helpful. Thank you. And then my last question is do you have any details on sort of where our region is? We're based on that map, we're pretty lucky to be considered the Southeast region because it's, only
Yes.
a couple of town lines away that you're into the rest of the state, which is in the critical situation. So can you give us some insight on how those designations are arrived at and what the specific metrics are that trigger the different designations?
So I believe the areas outlined are defined by watersheds. So we happen to be in the downstream, one of our well fields is in the Charles River on the downstream end. And the other one happens to be in the Boston Harbor Basin, which is the Neponset River watershed. So I believe it's different drainage areas and watersheds that depict the southeast versus the northeast and central regions. And then I apologize. What was the second part of that question?
The second part is just sort of what are the metrics that sort of trigger the differences in
Yep.
those critical levels, and how close are we to the rest of the state that may be just a little bit worse than we are?
So the different trigger points are USGS stream flow gauges and observation wells. So basically the state is looking at the condition, the water level within the ground, and also the flow within the local rivers within that region. And that's what's going to depict what the different drought levels are. I will know more tomorrow on how close we are to one side versus the other. That's not information that I specifically have with me this evening. But during the drought task force meeting tomorrow, we should learn a lot more about whether we're staying the same, and if we are, how close we are from one side to the other.
If I could follow up on that one, if we assume that we're still in the same category, and first of all, thank you for the presentation, Blake. What weather patterns do we need to see in order to have an improvement in our current status, and conversely, what weather patterns would we see were we to be downgraded?
So weather patterns to see us be downgraded would be above average rainfall. So as I previously mentioned, April 1st, the Globe issued a news article that said that Boston is about 5 inches below average as of April 1st. So in March, we saw an average rainflow. So we didn't really make any headway in the month of March as far as gaining anything. The first week in April, we are up about 1/4 inch, which is great news. And the forecast looking into the next week, it does look like we're continuing to see some, favorable weather patterns as far as April showers, if you will. So really what it comes down to is we need to see above average to make up that deficit of water within the rivers and streams and ground. And then it would be same as the opposite. If we started to see really dry weather for a long extended period of time, they would start to look and we would see triggers go in the opposite direction.
So would we need to see above average rainfall for the next few months in order to change our current status?
It's hard to tell. I mean, you could certainly make up the deficit in a month. So, I don't
Okay.
really know if I can answer the question whether it would be a month versus 2 months. But this time of year, typically we do see this, the wetter weather. So we're hopeful that we do make up some of that deficit and we can get more into a normal situation. Just personally, as managing a water system, you don't want to head into the summer months in a drought condition. We would love to see that peel back a little bit, and that way we have a little bit of wiggle room as we enter the hot season.
I know you said you have a board meeting tomorrow. How often will you be reassessing our status after that?
So it's when the state's drought task force meets, and they meet monthly. So they're meeting tomorrow morning, and then their next meeting won't be until the beginning of May.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, may I expand on Marianne's question a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Just in terms of the weather patterns, I assume that means, over the entire expanse of what is considered the Southeast region as opposed to locally, right? Because, we were just talking about, Norwood Hospital and what we're trying to do to get that reopened. We certainly know about the intense deluge that led to the closure of that. So, I'm just curious that what the weather patterns that Marianne was asking about would have to occur across the entire Southeast region to probably bring those levels up to appropriate.
Yes, that is an accurate statement. Yep.
Blake, I have 2 questions. People have questions and they go down to your headquarters. Is that, I know you're undergoing some construction. Is that still open, available for residents to stop by?
So we are open by appointment only at this point in time. So that said, we're staffed there. We have staff there every day. Parking is the main concern because of the construction we have ongoing. So if someone does show up, they will see a notice on the door and they can call the phone number. We would let them in. We have had a couple people come in since we've closed the door. But we're definitely making sure that we communicate with our customers, and we'll make adjustments as necessary if they do show up.
Okay. And if they want to call in advance to give you folks a heads up, what number should they call?
Our main number is 781-329-7090.
Thank you. And at one time, where's the nearest USGS gauge? There was one on Blue Hill Drive. I'm not sure it's still there.
So we have a couple that we monitor on the Neponset River. Green Lodge, there's one over in Green Lodge, and that one I think is probably the closest one to, that we monitor. I'm not sure what specific gauges they utilize for the drought conditions. I don't know if they look at every single one of them or if there's specific gauges in the different areas that they look at.
Okay.
But we do have at least a few of them that are within this direct vicinity.
Great. Do we have any questions from residents here? We do. Tish, can you give me a hand with those questions?
Just a reminder to folks that please put in your name and address so that the question can be read.
We have a question from Richard Bean, 103 Forbes Road. What is the water district doing to address the growth in both towns? What is the status of all current wells? What plans are underway to add wells to address the increase in population over the past several years? And just thank you.
So I think I missed the first question. Sorry, I was trying to write them down, but
Want me to reread it?
just the first one.
It's from Richard Bean, 103 Forbes Road. He says, what is the water district doing to address the growth in both towns? And what is the status of all current wells?
All right, well, let me start, I guess, with the status of the wells. The status of the wells is that we are in good shape, although that is what is a little bit troublesome about not being able to manage our own or have our own drought management plan and having to abide by the states. We are not seeing a significant impact in our current sources, which is good news. And what we are doing to address growth is that we are promoting conservation and trying to make sure that we are getting residents and businesses to use efficient fixtures. Looking back at the past 10 years, there has been some growth and we're using about the same amount of water that we have been regularly over the past 10 years. We also are able to supplement with MWRA. We have just 2 years ago increased the allotment of water that we're able to purchase from the MWRA. So that has also helped with making sure that we have necessary volumes of water moving forward. Our capital improvement plan that was completed back in 2021 did look at the sources and the amount of water available to us. And that amount of water that we have is definitely enough to meet demand of today. And they did growth projections, and the projections showed that we are in good shape to meet water demands expected through growth in commercial and residential through the next 10 to 15 years.
Thank you, Blake.
The last part of that was adding wells. As of right now, we have no plans to add any wells to add to the demand.
What else do we have there, Tish?
We have a question from Michael Kraft, 30 Coach Lane. He says, my information shows we've had 10.77 inches in the past 6 months compared to 11.74 average. How is this 5 inches short?
I'm not sure what metric or what gauge they're looking at for the amount of rain that they had received. What I'm citing is a Boston Globe article that was published on April 1st that showed that anywhere in the state of Massachusetts was basically at least 5 inches short, and that was in the Boston area where we are. And if you go west, where they're even in a more severe drought, they're in an 11-inch deficit.
That may also have to do with the larger southeast region as well.
Okay, then there is a question from Fran Fusco, 20 Pine Lane. Every year, the mandate on water restrictions gets earlier and worse. I know other communities who are on MWRA water and never have restrictions. Why can't Westwood start using MWRA water? Secondly, the town of Westwood should be very mindful on how much development we do, hotels and large apartment buildings. These developments will cause a significant strain on our water resources in the future.
So to address the MWRA, as I had mentioned before, we do have an MWRA connection. We are able to utilize them. However, having their water available to us does not supersede the regulations that were put in place by Mass DEP in regards to these water use restrictions. So the MWRA is not necessarily the answer, as it doesn't allow us any additional opportunities when there's a drought. And just as far as the development aspect of it, that's why I think it was important to come here tonight. I'm also presenting to the select board in Dedham on Wednesday night, because this is not an issue with our wells not having the capacity or the ability to meet demands today or tomorrow. This is 100% the state mandating that if their drought management task force determines that there is a drought, that they're forcing us to limit how much water we're using by imposing non-essential outdoor water use restrictions. So I think that's a very important piece I want to get across to both communities when I'm in front of you, is that this does not have anything to do with the amount of water we're able to produce locally or supplement with the MWRA to meet demands and to meet future development.
Thank you, Blake. Anything else there, Tish?
There is additional question from Michael Kraft, 30 Coach Lane. Also, is there a procedure for a variance where our own wells are in good shape?
So if they're talking about private wells, we have no authority over private wells. That would be something that would, you know, they're permitted through the Board of Health, through each community. And if there were any, I think the town would have to impose bylaws that would allow them to do anything with private wells. So for right now, private
Like
wells
if
are
I
not.
if I can jump in and sort of maybe interpret that question a little bit further, I think what he's asking is there any process by which we can ask to exempt ourselves from being part of the Southeast region, given our well status? And Michael, if that's not what you meant, I apologize, but that was how I read your note.
If that is how it was meant, then no, there's nothing that we can do to change our status or remove ourselves from the Northeast region. Southeast region, I'm sorry.
Southeast, yeah.
Yeah, we're in the Northeast for DEP, Southeast for the drought, so it's.
I noticed that, yeah. All right, anything else there, Tish?
There are two more questions. Another one from Fran Fusco, 20 Pine Lane. Why do other communities on MWRA have no restrictions?
That's also a good question. So the MWRA, being the largest public water supplier in the Commonwealth, they're the one entity that has been provided the ability to come up with their own unique drought management plan. So they do not have to follow the state's drought status. They solely issue restrictions based on the health of their water systems, the Quabbin and the Wachusett reservoirs.
And there's one more from Jeff Mills, 76 Aaron Road. Does the state provide access to see the water levels as they change, or a website?
Yeah, so all USGS gauges are available to the public or anyone real time. So if you know what specific gauge you're looking at, you can see real-time data at any point in time. I think that unfortunately, this is where it comes down to the task force only meeting monthly. So if they met more often, then you might see that the levels would change more often.
Blake, do you have any input into how that task force manages their time and meetings?
Not specifically. So we do work collaboratively with Massachusetts Waterworks Association. They're a regional association that kind of help advocate for public water systems. Their executive director attends all of these meetings and proactively reaches out to water systems, ours included, to find out what the state of our current water supply is, to try to use that information to help guide the task force. And what we were able to share with them last week is that the status of our sources is good. So we would like to see it reduced. However, even with sharing that information, they are not always successful in convincing them that to supersede what they might be seeing in the different USGS gauges.
Hey, Blake, one last question regarding, is it just the well levels that dictate drought? Or is there any factor for like sort of tinder conditions of, underbrush and things like that? I mean, we've been very, very lucky. Obviously this isn't something that's just happening out west or down south. Blue Hill was, I think it was November, when we had our department over there helping assist put out a wildfire on the mountain. So I'm just curious, does any of that factor into their creation of these drought conditions?
To be honest, I'm not sure if that does. I do know it's, water levels and the amount of precipitation that we've had, but I don't know if they take into consideration what the dryness of the ground or the tinder is.
Thank you.
And Blake, correct me if I'm wrong, but in case people do start checking some of these USGS sites, it's you in particular have to keep a close eye on the water level in our wells and how close it is to the mud and muck at the bottom of the well. So even though it might show 100 feet, you don't want to wreck one of your pumps trying to suck up mud through it.
That is correct. Yep. Yeah. In actual, we're worse, if we are seeing direct impacts of the current drought, we are seeing levels drop as we did. I think it was the summer of 2022 when we had to implement, this last time we implemented non-essential outdoor water use ban. We were seeing a significant reduction in the water level in our wells at that time. And we did in turn have to reduce the amount of water we were removing from the ground, which is why at that time we implemented them, because you're right, we don't want to get the water level too low where we're pulling in anything but the water itself.
All right. Rob, Marion, anything else?
No, there is one further question from Jeff Mills. I'm just happy to read that. He asked, could you provide a link and direction to which gauges would be meaningful? Trust but verify, smiley face. Can you point us in the direction, Blake?
Yeah, I'll have to circle back around with you all on that, but I will certainly find out more tomorrow of what they're using for indicators and try to get all of that information, and I'll forward it along to you all.
That's great. And Chris, is that something we can post on the town webpage for residents?
Of course.
Great. Mr. Mills, if you want to send the select board an email, we can try to get that to you directly.
Yes, Rob?
Just reaching for the microphone, that's all.
Mr. Chair, if I may just say,
The eyes are tough enough. I thought that was a hand raise. Go ahead, Chris.
I just want to thank Blake for his leadership and his team's leadership on a number of things, and also helping us improve communication with matters happening at the district level, sharing it with Westwood community residents, as well as certain emergencies, water main breaks and things like that. So Blake, thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks
Blake,
very much.
Thanks, Blake, and best of luck with the construction and the meeting tomorrow. And we're going to move on. Blake, thank you again.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity.
Next, we have our 2025 annual town meeting article discussion, potential vote to amend, accept, and/or remove articles. Chris, are you leading this?
Yes, Mr. Chair. So just as a reminder to the board, but also for the public listening, the board has 4 articles that you have not voted on as of yet. One is what was identified as Select Board 1, which is the FS1 project. Bids are out. We're waiting to receive the response to those bids. And the plan is for the board to discuss every article that I'm mentioning at your April 28th meeting. Select Board 11, which is a zoning bylaw, the new zoning bylaw amendment for municipal public safety facilities. And then also the flood area overlay district, the FAOD, as well as the zoning bylaw amendment for assisted living residents and nursing homes. So all those Select Board 11, 12, and 13 is going before the planning board at their April 15th meeting. And then also on April 28th, the board will have one remaining miscellaneous article to discuss either using or removing.
All right, Mary Ann or Rob, do you folks have any thoughts on what Chris just said?
No, it's consistent with what we've been talking about, so I'm good.
Agreed.
All right, so we don't need to vote anything at this time, the way I see it.
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
Other than to review the remaining articles. All right. Any questions from anybody? Rob, Mary Ann?
No.
Nope.
Okay. Let's move on to FS1, Fire Station 1 update. Molly?
Yes, thank you. So just in terms of events, we had a wonderful event with the library this past Saturday. So I just want to thank the library staff and the firefighters who came out to support that. I have an update on some soil and groundwater testing. And because of the technical nature of the update, I'm just going to be reading a lot from my paper. So I will just go ahead and read that. So, as part of the Fire Station 1 project, the town conducted soil and groundwater testing to determine the presence and concentration of, and I've been practicing this, per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, which are commonly referred to as PFAS, in the fire training area located in the back parking lot of the Westwood Fire Department. The testing would assist in determining whether a reportable release of PFAS has occurred in the environment over the past several decades. The department utilizes the back parking lot of the station for training exercises. This includes approximately a 1,200 square foot area where firefighting foam has historically been used during training exercises. Until about 5 years ago, the foam was known to contain PFAS, a group of synthetic chemicals commonly found in firefighting products. Although there are no existing state or federal requirements to test for PFAS at this site, given that the project does not alter the property's ownership or use, the town determined that proactive testing would be prudent due to the fact that the fire department has operated on this site since 1947, and PFAS containing firefighting foam became prevalent in training exercises beginning in the 1970s. Doing so would allow the town to be proactive in remediation should PFAS be identified. The test results have confirmed the presence of 6 regulated PFAS compounds in both the soil and groundwater samples collected from the site. The town will conduct additional testing in the coming weeks to both determine the scope of the issue and help in evaluating potential remediation measures. PFAS are a family of chemicals used since the 1950s to manufacture stain-resistant, water-resistant, and non-stick products. They're widely used in common consumer products such as coatings on food packaging, outdoor clothing, carpets, leather goods, ski and snowboard waxes, certain types of firefighting foam, and others. In the 1970s, the National Fire Protection Agency developed standards and guidelines for firefighting practices, including those related to the use of aqueous film forming foam and other foam agents for fire suppression, particularly for flammable liquid fires. This is not unique to Westwood, as these foams have been used for decades by fire departments and airports across the country. Given the wide consumer use of products containing PFAS, Dedham Westwood Water District, who we just heard from, has been tracking PFAS in the water supply since 2021. The town remains dedicated to addressing the issue and will work closely with expert environmental consultants to assess next steps, including remediation efforts. Additional information will be posted on the FS1 website and the town's website as it becomes available. So with that, I am happy to answer any questions.
And before we take the questions, I'd just like to speak on behalf of the select board. I think people ought to know the select board's priority is ensuring the health and safety of our community. Mary Ann, Rob, and I, we are all committed to transparency throughout this process, and we will provide updates as more information becomes available. So with that in mind, let's, Rob or Mary Ann, do you folks have any thoughts, comments, or questions?
I think you said it, Joe. I think you said it well in terms of our priority. I'm glad that we did this testing proactively.
I agree. Rob, any thoughts?
No, I would just concur. Thank you for being as clear on our priority to, maintaining public safety. No, I think this is something that I would imagine is happening at firefighting sites as they're reconstructed across the country. So, there's obviously more testing to be done and more to learn. So, I think that's the prudent course of action.
Thank you, Rob. Chief, did you want to, do you have any thoughts on this or anything you'd like to say at this time, or are you good?
Oh, I'm good. Like I say, had we known the dangers, it wouldn't have been done, but it's just the way things are sometimes.
Well, throughout the whole profession.
Yeah.
So, fortunately.
Yeah.
All right, Tish, do we have any questions there? I don't see any. Do you see any, Rob?
No question. Oh, one
Oh.
just popped. Hold on, let me look at it. It's from Kathy Wallace, 283 Farm Lane. Do we have an estimate on the potential remediation of PFAS? Where will the funding come for remediation?
I'm happy to take that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Molly.
The answer is we don't know yet. We're doing the additional testing to determine the scope of how much PFAS and how far it's going. And so we don't have any estimate at this time on the cost or where those funds will come from.
Thank you, Molly. Not seeing any further questions. I say we move on unless someone else has a comment they'd like to make. Molly, that was well done. Thank you. All right, authorization to complete the sale of property at 47 Willard Circle. And I believe Town Council Patrick Ahern is going to walk us through this.
Yeah, well, this has been a long process. There was a tax title taking at this property some years ago. We received approval to sell this via an RFP at last town meeting. We've gone through the RFP process. We have a successful bidder. And we've signed a purchase and sale agreement. That's in your package. We're looking for authorization to authorize Chris to sign on behalf of the town any and all documents required to complete the sale and conveyance of the property pursuant to the disposition of the purchase and sale agreement dated March 10th, 2025 between the buyers and the town. So I'm happy to answer any of the questions you might have, but this is just kind of closing the deal, if you will, on a fairly long process.
I know it was. Thank you, Pat.
Pat, as I read, this is an as-is, right? There's no future negotiation on anything pending any inspections or anything like that, right?
No. One of the things that you need to understand about the sale of real property is it is one of the only caveat emptor, let the buyer beware, transactions that take place right now. It's difficult to get back across the passing if there's a problem. But no, this is, we've got them, we're in a good place with the purchase and sale at arm's length.
Excellent news. Thank you, Pat. Anybody like to make a motion?
I'd be happy to. I move that this board vote to authorize the town administrator to sign any and all documents required to complete the sale and conveyance of property located at 47 Willard Circle, Westwood, Mass, pursuant to that disposition and purchase and sale agreement dated March 10, 2025, between the town and Terry Y. Chan and Kevin Chan.
Second that motion.
Roll call. Mary Ann,
Aye.
Rob,
Aye.
I vote aye as well.
Congratulations,
for your
Pat. I know
support,
this is
folks.
one
I
you've been waiting
appreciate
to
it.
do.
Yeah. Nice
Thank
work,
you,
Pat.
Pat.
Thank you. Rob, I think I stepped all over you. Do you want to say that again?
That's all right. I was just congratulating Pat. I know this has been a long process.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gotti.
Next, we have EV charging station policy discussion. Chris, are you leading this?
Happy to do so, Mr. Chair.
Please.
So before you is a draft policy where we're seeking your feedback. So we have an internal working group that's been working on a draft policy for the charging stations that are throughout the community. What you see here is the work that we've done thus far regarding establishing fees. We have to be determined as far as the fees. We want to have a conversation with you first. Plan on coming back to one of your meetings in May with the feedback that we received this evening with a more complete recommendation for you. But we have charging stations in front of the police station, which are considered tier 3, which are the faster chargers. We have charging stations at Carby Street. We have charging stations at Wentworth Hall. The schools will have some charging stations as well. So we're looking to establish a policy where we'll have some rates where we'll collect some revenue from those uses. The municipal town-owned electric vehicles would not be charged. But any personal vehicle, whether it's an employee or non-employee, public resident or non-resident, would be charged a rate. Because we are collecting the revenue through a third party, they cannot offset like some solar panel projects we have where it's offset on the utility bill directly. Because Eversource was running that program, because this is a third party, this would have to go into our general fund, and then we would have to appropriate for the usage of these EV charging stations. One area specifically, we're also looking where we have some suggestions where the board can determine or the board reserves a right to designate charging stations and their corresponding parking spaces for the exclusive municipal use. One reason for that is because we have a number of electric vehicles from our police department, and we have now 2 that will be considered more frontline vehicles. And so we wanted to make sure that we had a dedicated dedicated charging space for those vehicles, as well as all other municipal vehicles. So we would have proper signage there. We also have some language regarding towing. We would also have to update your traffic rules and regulations on that. But again, before you this evening is the draft policy and looking for board's feedback.
Mr. Chairman, can you hear me?
Yes.
Are you going to recuse yourself from this discussion?
I didn't think I had to this evening, Pat. Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, I am suggesting it. I mean, you can certainly watch the discussion, but if I don't think you can chair the meeting, given your situation, so I'd recommend that the clerk take over as chairman pro tem.
Are you good with that, Mary Ann?
Of course.
Great.
Happy to.
And if Tish can give me a shout when to sign back in, I will.
Joe, you can listen.
Oh, okay.
Joe, just let you know your camera's off. I didn't know if you were aware of that.
Yes, it was discussed previously, but thank you.
Okay.
Give the folks at home a break.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I didn't mean to step on your toes in any way.
No, not at all, Pat. No, you're watching out for us. I appreciate it.
Chris, the only question that I had with respect to the draft language had to do with the fact that the town review the rates and fees at least annually. And maybe this is something that Tom can speak to the next time we are talking about this before voting anything. But I'm just curious as to, the dynamic nature of the rates from the utility company, by only reviewing annually, are we putting ourselves at a potential disadvantage? Should we be more dynamic in our pricing?
It's a great point. We'll certainly talk to the team about that and come back and get a response for you.
Yeah, I don't know what's possible through the third party either.
Or something greater.
Yeah. Not sure what the third party can even do. Yeah. Okay.
So Chris, I'm sorry, Madam Chairman, Acting Chairman, I've been hearing from some people, I don't have an electric car, don't necessarily understand the technology, but I've heard from some people that some of the proposed rates may not be competitive. Can we take a look at what others around us are charging as well? Can you ask Mr. Philbin to do that?
Certainly can. So we don't have any proposed rates in this draft policy, but we have been talking about certain rates.
Yeah, right.
Pat, I know you've been part of those conversations, so we certainly will have that information for the board at their next, when this comes before the board again.
You stole my question, Pat. I too would like to see,
I apologize.
no need. I too would like to see what is competitive in our neighboring communities, because I just don't have a framework. And I'm really interested in making sure our residents get the first and foremost benefit out of this. And can we charge more, and should we, for non-residents? I'm not sure how we would account for that. I don't know if other communities do that, but I'm interested in making sure our residents benefit first.
So we can certainly look into that, Mary Ann. I have, based on conversations we've had with other communities, I have not heard of that, but that doesn't mean that it's not out there, but we can certainly look into that for you.
Great. Thank you. This is real progress. Thank you for all of the work on this. We're so
The
lucky
team has
to
done a
have-
great job. I will certainly pass that on. Thank you.
Please do. We're so lucky to have Tom Philbin's expertise with this, along with the whole team.
Madam Acting Chair, if unless there's something else that either one of you have or anyone else has, I think we're ready to move on to the next agenda item.
Yes, I agree.
Tish,
Joe?
would you mind contacting Joe?
No,
Thank you. Oh, Joe, you here? Oh, there we go.
yeah, I'm good.
Thank you.
I'm good. Yeah, no,
Appreciate it.
Pat, I'm sorry, Chris. Pat and I discussed this earlier. I should have filled you in on our game plan. I
No,
will.
no problem.
All right, next we're going to discuss the post the 2025 annual town election warrant. This is the election warrant. And I believe Dottie's here. Dottie Powers is going to walk us through this. Dottie, it's all yours.
Thank you, Chair. We were all set for the annual town election coming up on Tuesday, April 29th. And as the chair mentioned in his update, polls will be open from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. There's also a few different ways people can vote before. You can vote by mail, early by mail, but you need to submit an application. The deadline to submit an application is Tuesday, April 22nd at 5 p.m. You can also, if you qualify, if you're eligible to vote absentee, you can come into the office by appointment and you can vote absentee over the counter, provided you're not going to be in town on election day. You have a religious belief that does not allow you to go to the polls, or you have a medical disability that does not allow you to go to the polls. Right now, the ballots have arrived, and to this day, we only have 46 applications. Anybody that had applied should be expecting their ballot in the mail before the end of the week. And whoever has not applied, you can come into the town clerk's office, fill out an application, or you can also apply online. We have links on the town clerk's website where you can go to apply, and you can even download a form. We are ready to post the warrant, which has to be posted no later than 7 days before, by April 22nd. And once the board agrees to sign and post the warrant tonight, our constable will be posting that warrant in 5 places throughout the 5 precincts in Westwood and online.
Thank you,
Are there
Dottie.
any questions? Are there any questions?
I don't think so, Mary Ann.
Yeah, Dottie, thank you for that. I'm just curious with the ballots that go out by mail. What is the form? Do people get an envelope? Do they need postage to send that back? What is the exact form of that?
Okay, so they will receive a whole packet. There will be the inner envelope. And then when they open it up, there's a ballot, there's instructions, and there's also a return ballot envelope, and there's no fee. That happened in 2023 where the state approved all postage paid. So the residents, voters do not have to pay the postage. And they do have to, when they receive it, there is a special envelope inside called an EV7. It's a brown envelope. They have to sign that envelope. If they don't sign the envelope, we receive it back, we can't accept the ballot. Then we have to either send out another one or contact the voter. Another common mistake people make is they don't put the ballot in that envelope. They just put it in the white return envelope. So we have no idea who that voter was. So again, that's kind of a wasted vote. And unfortunately, if there's no return address, we can't reach out to that person. There will be very clear instructions on that. If you were to come over the counter, you would just fill out an application and you would get your ballot, you'd vote here, put it in the envelope again, sign it, and then those are all counted on election day. Those are all going to the polls.
Thanks, Dottie.
You're welcome. Any other
Well,
questions?
I don't see anything in the queue, Rob. How about you?
Do not.
Okay.
Marianne, thank you for that question, though. That was really helpful explanation, Dottie.
Yeah, we, that seemed to
Dottie, I
be,
think we're good. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'm sorry. I think Dottie, did you have
I
something?
just wanted to say that was a common problem during the last year's elections where people didn't sign the envelope. So just make sure whoever's out there listening tonight, sign the envelope, put your cast ballot in the envelope, and also circle in the dots. Don't put a check mark. You have to circle it in and try to use black ink. We'd appreciate it.
With that, I am happy to move that the select board sign the 2025 annual town election and for the warrant to be posted by the constable throughout town.
Second that motion.
Any discussion on the motion? Roll call. Marianne?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. Motion carries. Excellent presentation, Dottie. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, Dottie. You too.
Next, I think we have liaison reports. Rob, do you have anything to update?
No updates tonight, sir.
Marianne?
Just to say that I'll be attending the Commission on Disability meeting tomorrow night, along with Chief Lund, and we'll be making a presentation regarding FS1 and the Human Rights Task Force, I believe, is meeting on Friday. So more to follow.
Excellent. Excellent. Strong work. Thank you. All right. Next, we have approval of minutes. Did you folks get a chance to look those over? All right. Any additions, deletions, subtractions? Otherwise, can we go for a motion?
Yes, I move that we approve the regular meeting minutes for the meeting of March 10, 2025 as written.
I second that motion.
Roll call. Marianne?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well.
I
think
also move that we approve the regular meeting minutes for our March 19, 2025 meeting as written.
Second that motion.
Roll call. Marianne?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. Next, I have the executive session. I don't see public participation, but I do see a question in the queue. Tish, can you help me with that?
Sure. It's from Kathy Wallace, 283 Farm Lane. I encourage the board to seriously review the source of funding for the PFAS remediation. Please do not rely on the current contingency for the FS1 project, given the current economic environment and potential tariffs. Use the miscellaneous article that was discussed earlier and allocate free cash.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Sir.
It was just one thing for my update. I forgot
I'm
that
sorry, Chris.
I did
Yep.
not share. If I could share it now.
Please.
This is regarding the facility stuff. So as the board recalls, and certainly appreciate the board's support, the board voted authorization to use some ARPA funds for the town-wide facility study, both for the town and the school. At that time, we mentioned, we knew that the schools had a time sensitivity matter. So if anything had to happen, the schools would go first. One of the challenges that we had is, on the town side, is for the balance funding for the town's portion of this study, through the ARPA funding, we had to go through Norfolk County. And we certainly appreciate Norfolk County's assistance in their prompt response to our application, but we had a little bit of a waiting period, a little over 4 weeks that we had to wait for. So I'm hoping that I will have a draft presentation to you from our firm, our architect firm, Durham Whittier, at one of your meetings in May. I do know that the schools, I believe, are having a presentation this evening at their meeting. But again, they began their project a little bit earlier than us, like I said, about 4 weeks. So I'm hoping that we'll have something. We'll definitely have something by your May meeting, one of your May meetings. I just wanted to provide that update to you.
Thank you, Chris. If I recall correct, you had to chase something down to get the ball rolling again on that, correct?
Well, it was a team effort. Stephanie had to do something as well. Stephanie and the finance team had to do some work as well. And again, just working with Norfolk County, and certainly appreciate their partnership through all of this. But there was a process that we had to go through with Norfolk County. And once we were able to get through that process, we were able to complete the work, continue to authorize the work on the town side.
Well, thanks for the diligence. All right, Rob, Mary Ann, anything else before I go into the executive session part of this?
Joe, do you want to ask if there's any questions from the public or press?
Okay. So moved, Pat, thank you. Any questions, public and press?
There's no.
Nothing left in the Q&A.
Great. All right, the select board will be going into executive session to discuss one issue pursuant to general laws, chapter 30A, section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to potential litigation involving the property at 637 High Street, discussion of which would have a detrimental effect on the position of the governing body. If discussion were in open session, the board will not be returning to open session. And our next meeting will be April 28th. Is that right, Chris?
Yes, it is.
Okay, April 28th at 6 p.m. via Zoom.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, I believe the start time for that meeting is going to be 5:30
I know that.
on April 28th, and then the board will continue your meeting into the FinCom public hearing.
I couldn't have
that
said
evening.
that. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, anybody want to make a motion?
Yes, I move that we move into executive session for the aforementioned reason.
Second that motion.
Roll call. Mary Ann?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. Thank you, everyone, and thank you to folks who joined us this evening. Appreciate your civic involvement.
Good night, everyone.